The Night We Broke. Chapter 1. The Door Left Open. The night it began, the unraveling, the whispered accusations, the kind of betrayal that stains even the cleanest memory. The storm hadn't yet broken. The sky trembled, holding its breath, as though it too sensed that something sharp and irreversible was about to cut through 3 lives at once. Elena Hart stood at the balcony of the Verona Hotel, watching the clouds bruise purple over the city. She had dressed too quickly. One earring matched, the other borrowed. Her lipstick slightly smudged from nerves she wouldn't admit to. On the glass door behind her, the reflection of a man lingered. A tall silhouette, familiar in the way a dream is familiar after you've tried too hard to forget it. "Are you really going through with this?" Marcus asked, his voice low, steady, too calm for what he knew she was about to tell him. Elena didn't turn. The promise of rain made the air electric. "I didn't invite you here to stop me." "No," he said. "But you hoped I would." There it was, the old gravity between them. The pull neither of them spoke about anymore. She closed her eyes, remembering how things once were. Before Daniel arrived, before the night she wished she could rewind frame by frame until everything aligned the way it used to. Behind her, Marcus stepped closer. The warmth of him brushed her spine. "If you walk into that room," he murmured, "everything changes." "It already has," Elena said, because Daniel was waiting on the next floor. Daniel with his soft voice and dangerous certainty. Daniel, her husband's oldest friend. Daniel who knew her in a way Marcus never allowed himself to. A bolt of lightning split the sky. For a moment the glass reflected 3 versions of her. The woman she had been, the woman she pretended to be, and the woman she was about to become. Marcus exhaled sharply. "You're choosing him. You don't understand." "No," he said gently. "I understand too well." The elevator bell chimed in the hall. Elena's pulse hammered. The storm was coming fast now. Marcus caught her wrist. Not hard, never hard, but enough for her to feel the tremor he couldn't hide. "Then tell me," he whispered. "Tell me why him. Tell me why now." Elena finally faced him. His eyes, dark, steady, wounded, held hers like a confession. "Because someone opened a door I didn't know was locked," she said. "And once I stepped through, I couldn't shut it again." Marcus flinched. Not visibly, but enough for her to feel it. Enough for her to know she had just crossed a line no storm could wash clean. A knock echoed from the hallway. Elena froze. Marcus's jaw tightened. "That's him." The knock came again, soft, patient, intimate. The kind of knock from someone who has already been let in too many times. Elena touched the door handle. Behind her, Marcus said her name like a warning. Like a plea. Like the last steady thing in a world about to collapse. "Elena." But she opened the door anyway. And everything that followed, the lies, the quiet betrayals, the public scandal that would explode across the city like fireworks gone wrong, began with that single irreversible moment. A door left open. A storm breaking loose. And 3 hearts stepping into the dark. Chapter 2. The Man at the Door. Daniel stood in the hallway with the calm of someone who believed he had already won. He wore that same careless elegance Elena had once mocked. Shirt a little rumpled, tie loosened as though he had stepped straight out of an argument he refused to lose. His hair was damp from the gathering storm. A single drop rolling down his jaw like punctuation at the end of a sentence she was afraid to read. "Elena," he said, his voice soft enough to be dangerous. "I was starting to think you changed your mind." Marcus hovered behind her, a silent shadow. Daniel didn't look at him, not yet. He kept his eyes fixed on Elena, the way a man watches a flame he knows can burn him and still steps closer. "No," Elena said. "I didn't change anything." Marcus made a sound, quiet but sharp. Daniel's gaze flicked past her then, catching Marcus in a single, assessing glance. There was history in that look. Too much. More than Elena wanted to decipher right now. "Marcus," Daniel said politely. Civil. As though he wasn't the reason Marcus's world had just tilted. "Daniel." Marcus said the name like glass breaking. The tension between them thickened the hallway. Elena felt it pressing against her throat, the pressure of 2 truths colliding. The man she once believed would be her forever, and the man who had become her escape from the version of herself she no longer recognized. "Should we talk inside?" Daniel asked her. "Unless the audience is part of what you want." Elena's stomach tightened. Daniel always knew where to strike. Never cruelly but precisely. She stepped back to let him in. Marcus didn't move. Daniel paused in front of him. For a moment neither man spoke. Elena watched as if she were witnessing two storms circling each other, deciding whether to merge or destroy. Daniel finally broke the silence. "You don't have to be here." Marcus held his ground. "But I am." "And why exactly?" Daniel's voice was mild but the air crackled. "Concern? Jealousy? Or something else you haven't admitted yet?" Elena stepped between them. "Stop. Both of you." Daniel lifted his hands in surrender. "I'm here because she asked." Marcus turned to her then, not with anger but with something worse, a quiet raw sorrow. "Elena, is this really what you want?" "I don't know what I want," she admitted. The truth felt heavy on her tongue. "But I need answers." Daniel nodded. "Then let's give them to you." Marcus exhaled like a man preparing for a blow. Elena closed the door. The truth no one intended to say. They sat around the small table by the window, the storm finally breaking outside. Rain struck the glass with frantic insistence, as though desperate to be let in. Daniel leaned back, his confidence muted but intact. "Start wherever you need." Elena looked at Marcus. "You first." He rubbed the back of his neck, a gesture she had seen 1,000 times. "I think you already know." "I want to hear you say it," she whispered. Marcus looked at her with a tenderness that felt like a confession and a wound. "Elena, I never stopped loving you." A jolt went through her. Daniel's jaw tightened, his composure briefly cracking before he forced it still. Marcus continued, quieter now. "I stepped back because you were married, because you chose someone else, because I thought letting you go was the right thing." His voice strained. "But I never stopped wanting you." The words fell into the room like a match thrown into dry leaves. Daniel spoke next, no hesitation. "I knew." Marcus turned sharply. "Since when?" Daniel's fingers drummed once against the table. "A tell." He never had tells around anyone but her. "Since before she did." Elena's throat went dry. "Daniel, how could I not?" he asked, finally meeting her eyes. "You talk about him in your sleep." Marcus inhaled sharply. Elena closed her eyes. Shame and longing twisted through her like twin vines. "I wasn't trying to expose anything," Daniel said softly. "I just stopped pretending." Marcus stood abruptly, pacing the small room. "So this," he gestured between them, "was a competition to you?" "No," Daniel said. "It was a mistake. One I didn't intend. One I couldn't stop." Elena felt the room tilt. "Both of you, stop talking like I'm a prize." "You're not," Marcus said. "You're the consequence." Daniel didn't argue. Lightning flashed, illuminating the three of them in a brief, harsh snapshot, like a photograph from a life none of them had meant to live. What broke first? Elena pushed her chair back. "We can't keep pretending this started tonight." Marcus's shoulders sagged. Daniel lowered his gaze. Elena swallowed hard. "This started long before any of us admitted it. Long before the lies. Long before." "Before the kiss," Daniel finished. Marcus froze. The room went silent, the kind of silence that doesn't just settle, it accuses. Marcus turned to her slowly. "What kiss?" Elena's pulse thundered in her ears. Daniel spoke up, steady, as though taking responsibility might shield her. "It was months ago." Marcus's voice fractured. "Elena." She couldn't answer. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't lie anymore. The world outside roared with thunder, but the sound inside the room was worse. Marcus's heart breaking in real time. "Elena." His voice barely formed the syllables. "How long?" "I don't know," she whispered. "Longer than I meant. Shorter than it feels." Marcus closed his eyes. Daniel stood as well, instinctively stepping closer to her, protective but also guilty. "Stop," Marcus said, backing away. "Don't touch her. Don't defend her. Don't." He choked on the last word. Elena moved toward him. "Marcus, please." But he stepped away again. Lightning flashed. He reached for the door. "Elena," he said without turning, "whatever you think this is, you're not ready for what comes next." Daniel's hand tightened into a silent fist. The door opened. Then Marcus Hart walked into the storm. Chapter 3. After the break. The storm swallowed Marcus. The door swung shut behind him, leaving an absence so sharp it felt like a fourth presence in the room. Unspoken, unfinished, alive. Elena stared at the door as though he might reappear, soaked and trembling, ready to take back everything he'd just said. But the hallway remained empty. The silence absolute. Daniel moved first. "Elena," he murmured, reaching for her. She stepped away, not out of rejection but self-preservation. If he touched her now, she knew something in her would collapse that she could never rebuild. "Don't," she whispered. Daniel's hand dropped to his side. A flicker of unease crossed his face. Rare, for a man who lived half his life in certainty. "Elena, I didn't mean for it to happen like this. You didn't stop it either." He closed his eyes at that. When he opened them again, the softness was gone. What replaced it was truth, raw, sharp-edged, unflinching. "No," he said quietly. "I didn't." Thunder rolled across the sky, shaking the windows like a warning. The longest minute. Elena walked to the balcony doors and pressed her palms to the glass. Rain streaked down in frantic rivulets, blurring the city lights into a trembling watercolor. Somewhere in that storm was Marcus, her almost, her what, her unfinished chapter. Daniel's reflection appeared behind hers. "Elena," he said. "Talk to me." She inhaled slowly. "I don't even know what the truth is anymore." Daniel stepped close enough that she could feel the warmth of him ghosting her back, careful not to touch. "Then let me help you find it." She shook her head. "You can't be my answer." A muscle tightened in his jaw. "Why not?" "Because part of the reason I'm breaking is you," she said. "And part of the reason I'm waking up is also you. You can't be both." Daniel didn't speak. He didn't need to. His silence broke her more cleanly than any argument. Lightning flared again, catching the ridge of his profile, strong, troubled, beautiful in a way she wished she didn't notice. "Elena," he said finally, voice low, "you have to decide who you are, not who you belong to." She turned. "And what if the person I am hurts both of you?" Daniel stepped closer. "Then at least let it be the honest version of you." For a moment they stood inches apart, breathing the same storm-heavy air. Elena felt the floor tilt, not with falling but with recognition. The dangerous kind. She reached for the balcony door handle. "I need to be alone," she said. Daniel nodded. "I'll be here when you're ready." When she didn't answer, he added quietly, "Or when you're not." A city that sees everything. Elena walked out into the rain. The balcony tiles were slick beneath her feet, but she barely felt them. The storm drenched her instantly, her dress clinging to her like a confession she couldn't shake off. The city stretched beneath her. Windows glowing, cars leaving silver trails through the wet streets. People living their lives without noticing the fault line that had just split hers open. She gripped the railing, breathing hard. Somewhere below, a siren wailed, long, mournful warning. Thunder cracked. Elena flinched. Then slowly, her heartbeat settled into something steady, something certain. Something like resignation or clarity or both. Behind the glass, she saw Daniel watching her. Hands in his pockets, shoulders tense, eyes unreadable. He didn't step outside. He never crossed a line unless she invited him. Marcus would have. The thought ripped through her. Marcus, who would have dragged her inside, wrapped her in something warm, demanded she stop torturing herself with storms that weren't meant to drown her. Marcus, who loved her with the stubborn devotion of someone who believed she was still the woman he remembered. She pressed her forehead to the cold railing. Who was she now? The rain didn't answer. The message that changes everything. When she finally returned inside, dripping and shivering, Daniel handed her a towel. She didn't look at him. Didn't speak. He didn't push. She reached for her phone. No missed calls. But one unread message. From Marcus. Her breath caught. "I'm not leaving the hotel. Not yet. You owe me the truth. Meet me in the bar downstairs. Alone." Elena's fingers trembled. Daniel